the protest movement that came out of the George Floyd murder, I believe will lead to a permanent change. There is real impetus right now, and I'm working with the Black Caucus, with the Latino Caucus, and many others to try to develop policies that will have a permanent impact on the way that we make investments across the state, and making sure that people who have been disinvested from are able to access the dollars that so many other communities have so readily had available to them.
Welcome back to WGN-TV Political Report, still with Illinois State Senator Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford. Senator, there's so many complex issues going on in all that the state is facing. Let me ask for a moment about the businesses that can't open. I know we're in the phase and many are opening, but look, things like live performance venues, they still can't. Some are saying, look, it's less expensive to just stay closed than to open up. What is your sense of the number of businesses we may lose as a result of the pandemic?
Well, I find there could be a challenge in keeping particularly small business open in the communities, but the governor and the legislative body, the Black Caucus, we worked really hard in the Latino Caucus to establish the BIG program to make sure that there are resources available for business development to get them back going. It made sure that the Cures Act dollars were going directly to those entities. And so it's my hope that those funds will be readily available and helpful in making sure that those businesses are able to hit the reset button and thrive when they're back up and running. I just want all the businesses and all people to know that our lives is so important and at stake. And if we rush because we're trying to get businesses open and cause our state to reverse, we're on the brink of getting past this. We don't want to have a setback and begin to lose thousands and thousands of lives again. So I know it's an economic issue, but it's also a life or death situation as well.
Look, the state losing a lot of money as a result of this, asking the federal government for a lot of money. Essentially, the new budget relies on borrowing and also federal monies we may or may not see. What is your sense of the state getting in deeper debt as things go on, making it even more difficult for businesses that might want help?
I was surprised, Paul, with the supports and the position the governor had us in after just 1 year of a budget, that we didn't have to cut our expenses so desperately. The federal government has a responsibility, and their responsibility is to get those resources to all of our states so that we can help our economic security here. And it's just one of those things where we had dollars that the governor was appropriating, that the legislator was in support of and approving. And when we got to the budget, we didn't have to slash as much. We did have to do some borrowing. We do have a plan of paying our debt off. And I don't know that we're in a worse situation than we thought we would be in. So we're not, clapping our hands and jumping up and down in victory, but we're not in deep hole as this COVID crisis could really have caused a huge devastation. So we're maintaining.
You've been appointed to the Commission on Poverty Elimination and Economic Security. Just a word about your goals and how that plays out during a pandemic and economic crisis.
Well, the timing could not have been better for us to realize that the importance of a commission to address poverty elimination and economic security was on the forefront. I appreciate being appointed to this very important role because it's something that's going to identify a lot of those challenges that we've addressed. I'm excited about the way the commission is set up. In addition to legislators, it's also many people in the community who live in poverty, who live in extreme poverty, generational poverty, urban, rural poverty. We've identified all these different causes and locations and geographic in the state of poverty, anti-hunger, food deserts, all those things, all of those participants will be a part of this commission. So it'll be a 20-person commission set up with people who are impacted or advocacy groups who are supports these types of measures that deal with homelessness and things of that nature. The goal would be to establish a strategic plan in reducing poverty in our state. Next year, in November of 21, a finding would be due with recommendations to the governor and the General Assembly will be staffed by the Department of Human Services. The governor's budget team will have a role to play because if our recommendations identify areas in the budget that could reduce some challenges and also help us in ways, that's what we're looking for. So we're looking to reduce poverty by 50% the first 5 years. 5 years later, we're looking to reduce child poverty. And then with the goal of 15 years out to have poverty eliminated in Illinois. It's a tall order. It's a big challenge, but I'm up for it.
You got a lot on your plate. We're going to track the progress as time goes on. My thanks to State Senator Majority Leader Kimberly Lightford. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. We're going to take another break. Coming up next on the WGN-TV Political Report.
The left-wing mob is trying to demolish our heritage so they can replace it with a new repressive regime that they alone control.
The debate over American monuments rages on across the country. How President Trump wants to preserve the past while protesters continue to topple statues they say are offensive. Plus, Republicans follow through on their promise to reshape the American court system. How 200 judges will impact the future.